So I sent you an email and asked you some questions. I'm going to introduce you first. This is Allison Garcia, 2nd grade, and Jessica Wardell, who teaches 2nd grade at Brumby Elementary. And in the email, I asked you a couple of different questions or gave you some statements that maybe you could relate to and talk about. The first one was, if I wasn't a fan, but now I am. So that was one that both of you kind of said you would maybe had something to talk about on. So how do you feel about that?
So I know 3 years ago, I guess it is now, when we had our first STEM day and I saw our first project was to make glue. I about freaked out thinking about what my room was going to look like.
And we met as a team and we were like, let's get butcher paper to cover the floor, the tables, just so we were more concerned of the kids making a mess.
Right.
But when we dove right in, the kids were so excited to mix, add, measure, and it just was enlightening to see like the results and how excited they got when it didn't work, but then realizing what adjustments they could make.
Well, and I think like even though I set high expectations for my kids, like I was like, they're not going to be able to do this. Like, this is too much. Like, they have no background knowledge of this. How are they going to be able to do this? You know, they're not coming with the same kind of background knowledge that kids that maybe at not a Title I school would have. And I was just, within the first 5 minutes of introducing their challenge, was like blown away with how they were relating it to the 3 states of matter that we had just learned about, and how they were able to say, oh, in our first mixture there was too much liquid and so I need to add more of some of the solids, or vice versa. And just within one trial, you know, once they evaluated and went back and redesigned, within one trial, so many of our groups that year were able to say, oh, no, I need to do this, or I need to change this. And I think sometimes as a teacher, like, we're so worried about our timeline, and for the first time I saw in the STEM process like the value in evaluating, redesigning, and then building again. And you know, I feel like since then I've been able to incorporate that more in all aspects of the curriculum and not just on STEM day. And you know, my kids blew me away that day, and every year they continue to get better and better and better because they've done it before now. They've experienced STEM day before.
And hearing the talk, the communication piece that they have amongst their cooperative groups is amazing.
Yeah.
And having the background knowledge, not only in the standards that we teach, but the extension classes that we have, you know, in the science labs especially, and the math talk that they have with the measuring, it's just, it fits and gels together so well.
So you feel like having them do STEM and Core X, or Core X, I'll explain that later, guys. Having that in the Core X rotation, you can see the effects of that more on STEM day or STEM lessons.
And like Mrs. Wardell mentioned, we don't just have one STEM project every 9 weeks. We incorporate more depending on, like, when we worked on fairy tales. We worked together as a team and came up with Jack and the Beanstalk activity, you know, as a whole grade level. So the more collaboration that we do as a team and as a school across grade levels, it's magic. Having STEM, being a school, you know, a STEM school is so much fun.
And when, like, even just after our STEM day, when we created the glue, I picked my kids up from the math lab one day, and then the other math lab the next day, and then the STEM lab, and they were talking about measurement and teaspoon versus, and like actual measurement, and then they used that knowledge that they got from math 3 days prior in the science lab to create Play-Doh, which is similar to glue but different, and they talked about comparing and contrasting the differences between those two. And so it's not like, oh, STEM day happened and it's over. Like, the conversation continues, and I think that that's what's important for our kids, is that they don't just see STEM day as this one event that happens every 9 weeks, but they see that it travels through the curriculum across their classes, and it's not going away. It's part of life in school now.
And to making the real life connection, like back home, like when Mrs. Wardell was talking about the measuring tools, they could use those in the kitchen. And they make that talk, you know, before, during, and after the STEM projects that we do. And we keep a journal, so they can always, you know, refer back to it.
That's great. Okay, here's the hard question. Why STEM in a Title I school?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, it benefits every child, and regardless of their background, whether they're ESOL, because we build, you know, build it up,
Right.
and we provide the vocabulary background on it. It's not just, oh, we're making glue, let's do it. Oh, we're making a car, make sure you can make it move. Like and again, having the core extension classes, and just teaching the standards, and doesn't matter, whether they're ESOL, in the inclusion class. I
Right.
mean, they all can do it. And trial,
Right.
it makes, you can, it's not going to be, it might be perfect the first time,
Right.
but they're going to try, and they're not afraid to fail. The first time or second time, they're going to keep going.
Right. And when I think about it, like, a Title I school is the venue to have STEM. Like, our kids, like, some of them may, but some of them may never have exposure to things like this. They may like, other kids at non-title schools may go to a robotics convention or may have the opportunity to participate in STEM activities in their house because their parents saw something on Pinterest. And for some of our kids, that isn't the case. And so why would we not provide those opportunities for them? Why would we not facilitate a day or a school in which they are going to have those opportunities to use those critical thinking skills, to use creativity, to use those problem solving skills when they might not get those at home, and that's not to say that that's true for every kid, but it is our job to provide them with opportunities to harness and build those skills, and STEM Day and being a STEM school provides that, and Title I kids deserve the same opportunities as their non-title peers. So if we know they're not getting it at home, then it's our responsibility as educators to build that into the school day.
And great things are happening at home because our students are bringing in projects that they created
Right.
over, out of recyclables.
Right.
Old cereal, like finished cereal boxes,
Right.
and creating like diagrams to build on what they've learned in science. Even if it was something that they learned in
Right.
kindergarten, they're going above and beyond and showing us in second grade.
Right.
And they're being displayed on the Brumby News as standing out.
Right.
So then it's like, oh, Miss Garcia, I want to do that. Miss Wardell, look at the, so
Right.
it's exciting. It's very exciting.
Getting rid
for the
of
kids.
paper and pencil homework. I mean, as a grade level, we did that, and getting rid of that, I feel like, has created a STEM culture that transcends our school day and goes home because the parents are looking for something to do with their kids, and we're like, find something they're interested in and,
Yes.
and turn it into a project. And we've seen kids design homes for Creek and Cherokee Native Americans,
So
or when we talked about day and night and seasons from our standards, we had kids building dioramas to represent how the sun revolves around, or the earth revolves around the sun. And so, I think we're trying to get away from that traditional sit down, do your work, and go more to a problem solving based learning that happens not just here but at home as well.
Great. Do you feel like you've seen more in the last 3 years? Do you feel like you've seen more parental involvement because of the way that we are approaching STEM?
Absolutely. And the supplies, I mean, we're making the cars,
Right.
and like I have more people bringing in the caps, from the water bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I drank a lot of smoothies over the weekend. Here, Miss Garcia, like
Right.
they're bringing in, so we're ready.
Good.
For our next field, for
Yeah.
our next STEM project. So
And they want it. Like, parents want to be involved because, a lot of these new I think of math, but the new Common Core strategies, they feel inaccessible to parents at times. But this is something that parents can get on board with because we're all on a level playing ground of, we don't know how to do it, so let's problem solve together, because that is the basis of STEM.
Right. If you had any advice for a school that doesn't do STEM or is just starting STEM, what might that be?
Embrace the mess.
Embrace
Embrace the mess. Embrace the chaos, because
it's
I'm super type A, and it overwhelms me sometimes to think through just letting them go and do, but it is amazing what they do. And so, embrace the hard, embrace the mess, embrace the chaos, because it's worth it, and it's not chaos. It's organized chaos that allows them to thrive, I feel.
and it again, it entails all academic areas. So it's do it.
Do it. All right.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Thank you.